Broadcasting from the classic city, Athens, Georgia, it's the Ratio Podcast, live featuring Johnny Ray. We are coming to you live from the lab at Cine, Athens' only independent art house cinema. In this episode, we uncover the lamp, talk with AthensPets founder Lisa Milot, and discover the music of Amy B. I'm Jack Slayton, inviting you to come with us and enjoy tonight's edition of the Ratio Podcast Live.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Ratio Podcast here at the lab at Cine. Please say hello to my co-host, Mr. Jack Slayton.
Good evening.
How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Good. How you been?
Been all right. A little under the weather, but, back.
But you're back fit as a fiddle.
Absolutely.
Because tonight on the show, we have musical guest Amy B. We also, stopping by from AthensPets, we have Lisa Milot on the show tonight. So everybody give a big hand for her. And also, we're going to have a little bit of cinema business here for you in just a little bit. But how's everybody surviving the UFO invasion? Wouldn't that be like awesome if it really was like aliens or extraterrestrials? That would just be a big flag, just a big capper to the last 3 years that we went out like that. It'd be kind of awesome. So what else has happened since we last spoke? We're here back in 2023 doing our live Ratio Podcast series here at the lab. I know I've mentioned that 4 times now, but give it up for Cine. Let's see. Since we last met, Black Sabbath celebrated the 53rd anniversary of their debut album, thus creating heavy metal. So let's give a hand for those chaps. So I love Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is one of the most important bands in the world to me. I mean, I just absolutely love them. And no disrespect to those gentlemen who I have the most respect for, but it looks like a group of like quasi-criminals that just got together and wanted to make this witchy, swingy, dark music, and I couldn't love them anymore. But I mean, some people would say the greatest crime, I think Ozzy actually was a criminal, a failed criminal. I think he got caught after the second go and ended up in the slammer. So, but some people would say the biggest crime is that guitarist Tony Iommi did some time in Jethro Tull. So, Jack Slayton, defend Jethro Tull. 30 seconds, go.
Well, Aqualung, great album.
That's enough. All right. So, moving right along, we are here at Cine, which is a holy place, a movie theater. And I know these last years have been hard on a lot of people, and there's not been a lot to look forward to during the pandemic and everything, and things looked really bad for, movie theaters or movies in general there for a bit. But places like Cine and another theater out in Los Angeles, the New Beverly, that you've probably heard of, are doing this really good work to keep cinema alive, and you must take advantage of these resources if you are able to. And I want to, at this point, since we had kind of the sound snafu earlier, I want to say hello to our viewers at home. Everybody give them a round of applause. I'm so glad y'all tuned in. It means the world to me. But getting back to cinema, I have rediscovered my love for movies that has always been there. And I mean my obsessive love for movies. I've never strayed too far from movies, but, the things that got me back into the films or movies, however you want to call them, are the grindhouse pictures, the genre pictures, the movies where the real action is. I spend my nights with Pam Grier, John Waters, Roger Corman, Larry Cohen, and Tura Satana. And it's a fun place to be. Like in these movies, I think one thing that appeals to me so much in them is you'll see like a car catch on fire and immediately explode. So in these movies, I know that car actually got blown the fuck up when they set it on fire. And it's always like a fun thing to check out. And there's so many things within genre pictures, and I mean, maybe I'm showing my age, but I'd rather watch a B picture from Jimmy Wang Yu than anything in the MCU. So cinema is a wonderful thing that we all need to embrace. It's a good thing we can share. Any movie theater chain or anything that would, I don't know, say charge higher for certain seating, that's just crazy to me. It's the one thing that it's already getting high enough, but it's the one thing we can all agree on and still kind of enjoy going to the movies. So speaking of cinema, check this shit out.
The Lamp. The Lamp. 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 The Lamp.
So yes, that is a motion picture entitled The Lamp that Jack Slayton and I are producing, writing, and directing. There is really nothing I can say to prepare you for this movie. But I guess the most important thing is, The Lamp is going to be notable for the international love affair it garners and the amount of smiles it puts on people's faces. Because Jack Slayton, what's the most important business we're in?
Smiles business.
The smiles business. So carrying on with that theme, what comes next?
Oh, well, The Lamp 2.
The Lamp 2. In this smash hit, our connection with the lamp grows and deepens. And you start asking yourself, okay, what's going on here? How can I feel this much for a lamp, yet at the same time just be engulfed and overwhelmed by smiles? So we're going to cut right through that cognitive dissonance, and where are we going from there, Jack?
The Lamp 3.
The Lamp 3. It is at this point that the phenomenon of the lamp fully reveals itself to us. And because of people missing work due to seeing the lamp 3, 4, 5 times, and normal societal functions being tossed aside in favor of top-notch entertainment and just a smorgasbord of smiles, we declare International Lamp Day. It's going to be the talk of the town. You're going to see your friend out in town, and you're going to come smiling up to him. You're going to be like, what are you doing for Lamp Day? So yes, coming in 2023, from the bowels of hellfire and brimstone, The Lamp. We are going to have our first guest coming up in just a moment. Let's welcome, coming to the stage, Lisa Milot from AthensPets. Hey, Lisa. There you go.
Hey, Johnny, thanks so much for having me here.
Yes. We're going to show your video here in just a second, and I just wanted to introduce you to everybody. So let's watch the video, and then we'll have you back up here, and we'll discuss it.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
There was an undergrad at UGA who noticed a need at the local shelter, and she started a website that she named AthensPets.net. And after I moved to Athens and started volunteering at the shelter, I decided I wanted to actually try and change things systemically instead of sort of bailing out the sinking ship that was pet overpopulation, and decided to set up a 501c3 organization in conjunction with them that would be named AthensPets, and it would both be in charge of that website still, but it would also raise funds for spay and neuter for the shelter animals as well as animals in the community, and for medical funds. In 2015, the shelter itself had a live release rate for dogs of about 80%, for cats of only about 50%. By 2019, we had about 93% of the dogs, I believe, and about 89% of the cats that were making it out alive. And since then, the numbers have only gotten better. We realized that one area that we could really make inroads would be on the animals being reclaimed from the shelter. So shelter staff started making free spay and neuter offers to those people. AthensPets pays for those surgeries, and but it really targets the folks in the community who are in many ways the most vulnerable. Their pets are the most vulnerable. And by getting them altered and basic vetting, it means those animals are healthier, and they're able to stay in their homes to a much higher rate with their people, which makes everyone better off, and it means that our shelter is not as overcrowded. Our ideal, if a pet is in a good home, but the home is vulnerable in some way, it's always better to keep that bond. Like, that human-animal bond is so important for both the human and the animal's health. They both suffer if you sever that. So Athens Pets started expanding beyond just the shelter, the mechanics of the shelter. I started working more on the ordinance level with trying to tweak ordinances for the county that would be helpful in reducing pet overpopulation, but also providing resources to community members who might need it. And so for the University of Georgia School of Law, I now run what's called the Practicum in Animal Welfare Skills. And one of the projects we have there is that PetSmart Charities has picked up a series of community clinics that Athens Pets had started, where we're providing free or discounted basic veterinary services for folks in targeted communities. And UGA vet students are actually the ones handling the dogs and doing the work underneath the supervision of the veterinarian. So they're also getting hands-on experience in the field in a way that they don't get, especially not early on in vet school. And the law students who are involved are talking to the owners, just answering questions they have about pet care, letting them know about some of the things that trip people up in terms of having animal control come on their property. Athens Pets funded the initial cycle of the program. UGA now completely runs the clinics. Before, I was running it with my UGA professor hat on, but it was Athens Pets funding for all of the vet services. And now we have funding from PetSmart Charities to be studying what it takes for the most vulnerable members of the community to be able to get vetting for their animals. Hopefully this is something that will be successful in showing that the animals are in better condition when they come in. Maybe we have lower impounds from these areas and they have better live release rates on the other end. We would like to be able to expand farther both in our program, but then PetSmart's model is to try and figure out if this is something that can be scaled. And it's just really special to be able to see these people who thought they were going to have to be separated from their pets, but realize that there are the resources available to make it so that they can stay together.
All right, now coming to the stage, Lisa Milot. Please welcome her from Athens Pets. Hey, Lisa. Sorry to rush you out earlier. I think like my robotic weird sound thing just kind of threw me off for a second. We didn't show your video yet, but I double introduced you. So how long have you been working with animals? Has this been like a lifelong passion of yours, or?
Not really. I started getting involved in animal rescue in about 2005 after I adopted my first dog, but I was already in my 30s at that point.
Wow.
But I just became really involved in the rescue side of things, and after I moved down here, I transitioned to the shelter side. But it always felt like it was getting one animal out and watching two come in.
Right, right. Well, how difficult is that to go in and be around these animals that you fall in love with and just, take care of, and just seeing, obviously good things are coming, but how hard is that day to day, you going in and being around that atmosphere?
Much easier now than it was.
Right.
It was much more difficult back in 2014, 2015, because it was really hard to bond with the animals and then realize that they weren't going to make it out of the shelter. But at this point, that's not really as much of an issue. We're still scrambling to get them out, but we've made enough changes and have enough support in the community now that that's not so bad. And I also have a house full of animals, so sometimes
Right.
they come home with me.
So you've been catching up since like 30. Okay. So it's got to be so like fulfilling though when you see, like you said, animals going out the door and how, what's the biggest challenge? Let's get to that in just a minute. What's the first thing what was the first spark for this program that you really saw, hey, we're really making a difference here and things are really starting to change. Things are really starting to move in this program.
Well, one of the things I've been focused on since I incorporated Athens Pets and made it a 501c3 is trying to reduce pet overpopulation. And so my biggest accomplishment, I think, to date is that we've reduced puppy impounds at the shelter by 50%, which represents a reduction in the number of animals in the community that are producing where there's no homes on the other end for the animals. And so that's been huge. And then it's also been great to be able to move more into the community with working on our community vet care clinics and providing the care that's needed for animals in the neighborhoods we choose.
Right, right. What can people in the community do preventatively just to help you out on the front end of all of this?
Well, spay and neuter your pets. I feel like I'm Bob Barker.
Just like Bob.
Yeah, exactly. But that's really the biggest thing. And just talk to people who don't spay and neuter their pets about why not, because there are a lot of misconceptions about all of that. And
Do tell.
I have to tell you, the number of men who seem to identify with their dog's genitalia is incredibly high.
Yes. Okay. What's the percentage of men identifying like a cat's genitalia? That's even like.
I have to say,
pretty bad.
nobody seems to identify with cat genitalia.
Okay.
All the cat owners are perfectly happy to have their cats spayed and neutered.
Okay. So we don't race to the top of disaster like we do at everything else.
Right, exactly.
So, okay. Well, now, what variety of pets? Do you just deal with dogs and cats, or do people bring in like a pet serpent?
The shelter actually sees a pretty wide variety. We're in the process of, AthensPets is in the process of purchasing better rabbit housing for them because they've been getting a number of rabbits in. They get parakeets and boa constrictor. There was an alligator one day.
No shit.
I thought we were going to get a llama, but it turned out it was on the Oconee County side of the line.
Oh, wow. There was an alligator. Tell us about the alligator.
The alligator, it was probably only about 1.5 feet long. It seems to have been somebody's pet that was released. And so that came in and it got rehomed to an exotic sanctuary.
Okay. I didn't know Athens had an exotic sanctuary. No, not here. But so what's some of the weirdest like medical issues that you've dealt with people out in the community with their pets?
We haven't actually seen the really weird ones with the folks out in the community. I think those are, we've definitely seen them with the animals coming into the shelter. So one of the odder ones to me is something called a wolf worm, which is when a fly of some sort lays a larvae in the animal. The one I saw was in here, and so the worm just starts coming out.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was unpleasant.
Terror has a new face. Oh my God! So it just comes out and like.
Yeah, it's just coming, so that's being removed.
And you just know that when you go up, you're just like this. Here comes a wolf worm.
Oh, you want to know the weirdest thing about spay and neuter?
Yeah, oh, totally.
Is that when you
Who doesn't?
well, when you put the animals under anesthesia,
Right.
if they have parasites, the anesthesia is toxic to the parasites because they're so small, and so they start trying to escape. And so we've seen some really interesting tapeworms coming out, where the whole thing is just coming out.
So you just put a dog under, say, get a sandwich, watch the show, transpire.
It was pretty shocking to me the first time I saw it, but now it's
old
more
hat.
routine. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, there's got to be the one night where you're like, Jesus Christ, 18 of those things at once. So what can we do, like every community member and people that live outside of the community, do to help Athens Pets? Because it's an awesome idea. Like, y'all should, let's give it up one more time to Athens Pets. What can we do?
Well, the shelter now has a pet food pantry, so donating pet food there is a big help. Donating money, of course, donating time. A lot of it is just the animals need time to be with people and to have that bond because it makes them more adoptable overall by lowering their stress levels. So volunteering at the shelter is huge. And just getting the word out that we've got really great animals at the shelter and that they need homes. Probably the biggest issue we've seen in the last year and a half is the number of low-income housing developments that have changed property management, or where property management has decided not to allow pets any longer. And so we're seeing, we just found out about one trailer park, for example, where this has happened, and there's about 300 trailers and half of them have pets. And so all those pets are coming into the shelter in the next 2 months. And so just anything to get the word out about how there are really good animals at the shelter to adopt and sending people that way.
Okay. Well, you know, how do you feel, okay, how can I tell you that I despise children, but just, why are children allowed to go anywhere, but animals can, only have limited places they can go? How can we attack that problem? I'm teasing y'all. I love children.
I guess I should have asked if I could bring my 5 dogs here tonight.
Yes, that would have been great. That would have been, I always hear it's really good to work with animals in live TV. So
they're so predictable and definitely would not be knocking things over right now.
Absolutely. Well, is there any special pets you want to highlight and talk about right now that are there? Any parting?
Oh my gosh, there's just such a variety right now, just because it's not just the it's not just the animals that are being brought in for neglect and things like that. It is really the ones that have been in homes and have and really bond well with people that are at the shelter. So there's just any breed or size you're looking for, we have right now.
Wow. See, anything you want, you should go get 3 or 4
right.
while you're there. Well, everybody.
Five. I advocate 5.
5.
Yeah,
5.
5 is good.
Get a basketball team.
That's
There we go. Well, thank you so much for coming in, Lisa. It was so nice meeting you. Everybody, Athens Pets.
Thank you so much.
How's everybody doing? How'd everybody enjoy Lisa? All right. Well, how many pets do you have, Jack?
Just the one right now.
Just the one cat?
Yeah.
Okay, Bruce Wayne, right?
Bruce Wayne.
All right, and I have Charlie.
Charlie.
5 pounds of fury, who will be on this show here very soon. But tonight, we've got a new musical guest, a friend of mine that I've known for well over 20 years from back home. Please, everybody, please welcome Amy B. Everybody, give it up for Amy B. How about that? There you go. So good to see you.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you for coming and doing the Ratio podcast. So how can people get in touch with you and find out about your music?
I would say subscribe to the Ratio podcast because I'll let you know first.
There we go. There we go. Now, me and you were talking about ventriloquist dummies earlier. So you're looking for, I think it's a fully articulated dummy. Tell everybody what you're looking for.
I'm looking for a fully articulated Slappy from Goosebumps with moving eyebrows and eyes. So if anybody knows where I can get one of those
For less than
$400.
because you were telling me they go for like $400.
They do.
That's insane.
If anybody has a used Slappy, I would be interested.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on, everybody. Amy B. So that's about our show for tonight. I want to announce tonight in March, coming up next month, we're going to have Issues. So you're going to want to come out to see that. That's going to be an awesome night. So smoke weed, stay switched on, and we'll talk to you soon.
The Ratio Podcast Live is produced and directed by Eric George, executive producers Nick Gould and Johnny Ray. You can find the Ratio Podcast details at ratiopodcast.com. For more information about Cine and the lab space, please visit athenscine.com. This is Jack Slayton saying good night and don't do anything dramatic.